Barrett Cohen, WLSN Radio, and I have with us here for the first time with LaSalle High School, it's Rob Lucas, your sideline analyst, and tell a little bit about your football history, and certainly I'm sure you're going to lay the information out there how you won 2 state championships, so let's just get that out of the way.
Absolutely. In high school, Fort Wayne Bishop DeWanger, we won 2 state championships. Fortunately, received a scholarship to play at the University of Cincinnati under head coach Rick Minner. I had been coached by folks of the name of like John Harbaugh and Rex Ryan, and I'm really looking forward to this season, Barrett.
Rob, this is going to be a lot of fun, and I think people are really going to appreciate what you bring to the table, especially in a sideline analyst point of view. You're able to see things, quite frankly, that maybe us in the up in the booth, in the stands, aren't able to see. This year, people are actually going to be able to be in the stands and listening to the broadcast, too, so they can actually maybe get some information that clearly they're not going to be able to get during the game. Sideline injuries and maybe some X's and O's sort of things. Talk a little bit about your experience quickly at UC and how much you were able to learn just about the greater Cincinnati football. Because, coming from Fort Wayne, all due respect, Fort Wayne's not known as a powerhouse with football as the likes of Ohio, Cincinnati, Texas maybe. But you're in the heart of the GCL now, a St. X, Elder, Moeller.
Yeah, coming from Indiana, you look at schools from California, Texas, Ohio, as some of the major players across the nation. And with that, in Ohio, the GCL is by far one of the most competitive conferences in high school football.
Rob, last week we talked about the differences between a 3-4 and a 4-3. We do this every week. It's inside the huddle. We talk about the differences in certain schemes and certain defenses, and I think tonight would be a good time to talk about the nickel and dime packages. And it was brought to my attention that the LaSalle Lancers and much of the GCL runs a 3-3, or as you described to me before we went on the air, a 3-3-5. Talk about the 3-3-5. And then how that compares or is similar, if you will, to the nickel and dime packages and how they scheme against the certain offenses that the GCL has and that the Lancers might see this year.
A 3-3-5 is in essence a nickel package. And what that means is that you have 3 dime linemen, 3 backers, and 5 defensive backs. And the reason you would want to do that is solely for matchup and to get speed on the field. You're very confident with your front 3 guys getting penetration, blocking up gaps, and your backers scraping to make tackles in the event there's a run. But you put the 5 defensive backs on the field in order to give you a leverage in speed and matchup. Now, when you run a dime package, you're looking at bringing in another speed guy. So in essence, you have like 6 defensive backs on the field. Typically, that's not done unless it's a 3rd and extremely long or a 4th and extremely long, and the offense the offense is going for it on 4th down. The interesting thing here is that the GCL is running a 3-3-5. That is all for matchup purposes. They're trying to alleviate an ideal matchup for the offense based solely on the speed and athleticism of their defense and the confidence that they have in their backers in front 3.
I hope to take some of that information that you shared and apply that to the broadcast booth. I know a little bit from a surface level about the nickel, the dime, but now that you break it down a little bit of it's certainly something that I know I can use up in the booth, and hopefully people can use at home while they're watching the games on Friday nights, Saturdays, or even on Sundays when they watch the Bungles down at Paul Brown Stadium. But let me first ask, how excited are you for next Tuesday? It's going to be Game On over in the White Oak Shopping Center. It used to be Jeffrey's. They're going to be packing the house, gill to gill. It's going to be unbelievable. It's LaSalle Football Booster Night, and it's going to be the debut of WLSN and the LaSalle Broadcasting Network. You know what we like to say, that's bigger than Texas.
That is bigger than Texas, Barrett. And I think what we're bringing here to LaSalle is something that is extremely valuable in a number of ways, and we're extremely excited to be a part of it. And thank you to the powers to be at LaSalle that they saw the value of what we bring to the table in regards to coverage, our knowledge in the game, the entertainment that we bring to the game, et cetera, et cetera. And I'm just honored to be a part of this whole kickoff come Tuesday night.
It's going to be a lot of fun. A lot of high schools, have some broadcast coverage, but I can guarantee you this. Take this to the bank, and I'm a LaSalle grad, 93. I can assure you this. This will be the best high school football coverage in the country, and I say that with no hesitation. Having said that, you talk about the powers that be, the tank, Greg Tankersley over at LaSalle. He's probably going to want to listen to this broadcast after I edit it about 5 times. He'll send me about 5 emails saying, I like this part. The old something sandwich, if you know what I mean. He'll say, hey, that's a great interview you did with Rob. But is there any way we can maybe do this, add this, delete this, maybe change this, maybe put this intro into the music? I think deep down inside, the tank wants to be a producer. What do you think about that?
I think absolutely, and he also has to get approval from the Vatican. Let's not forget that. He has to get approval from the Vatican to ensure that LaSalle acquires the proper funding in the Catholic Church, which I know all too much about of 12 years of private school.
It's unbelievable. I love this opportunity to kind of jab anybody we can, and the tank will be the butt of many of our jokes throughout the year. There's always one. You got to have somebody. It was either him or Matt Durkers, and after seeing Matt Durkers attempt to make dunks over the last year under a couple of years of his high school career under the tutelage of Dan Fleming, I think it's time to move on. So the tank will be our target this year. And finally, do you have any questions for me, Rob?
Barrett, you being an alum, had attended LaSalle. What are some of the things you're excited about or the changes that have been made that you've seen since you've been there? Well,
it goes right back to Greg Tankersley and Matt Durkers on a serious note. Those guys have they're not the guys that just sit on their laurels and just kind of wait for things to happen. They are progressive guys. They're guys that are going to go out there and they want to change the image of LaSalle. LaSalle, nobody that went to LaSalle wants to admit this, but they're known as sometimes being the doormat of the GCL, and I hate saying that. But these two guys, I'm telling you right now, are changing that. You talk about last year's athletic success with the football team, cross-country team, track, basketball, obviously, 2 state team championships last year. That's just the beginning of things. What they're laying down, the foundation they're laying down, in bringing an iPhone application potentially, hopefully, to the forefront, if not this year, next year. And they're really they're just doing everything they got to do. I mean, it's like what Coach Lauder said, plan your work and work your plan. And I can tell you this right now, they are planning the work now for this to be one of the best high schools in the city, but most importantly, in my opinion, the best in the GCL, and that's all that matters. We'll be back on Tuesday night. You can be sure to check us on WLSN, the Lancer Broadcasting Network, live. You can go to lancernetwork.org and listen to the broadcast of all the games, including our coaches show next Tuesday at Game On Cafe in the White Oak Shopping Center. For Rob Lucas and our engineer tonight, Mr. Rob Strickland, this is Barrett Cohen saying, so long, everybody.